So many generations of Jews have said the Shema. Aren't you betraying your ancestors? Well, a couple of responses to that. The first is, did they believe what they were saying? If the answer is, well, maybe, or yes, well, I get to believe what I'm saying. I am fulfilling a Jewish tradition. There's a line in the Talmud, Shelo yedaber echad b'peh ve'echad b'lev. It's often sort of an aphorism in modern Israel. Echad b'peh ve'echad b'lev. It means someone who says one thing in the mouth and one thing in the heart. And you shouldn't do that. Well, that's what we do. We say the same thing in our mouth and in our heart. We are being consistent. And if our ancestors were, they refused to say things they didn't believe. They were told, convert to Christianity, it'll save your life. Guess what? Many of them didn't do that because they didn't say what they didn't believe. That's a Jewish tradition too. The second thing to think about is I can be loyal to my ancestors in lots of ways. It can be as an heir. I've inherited Jewish culture, and it's mine now to adapt and create and pass on to my kids. Now, I can also be a museum curator that puts it in a glass box and doesn't let it change. I can be a historical reenactor that dresses up and acts like I'm living in colonial Williamsburg. But that's not how I see my Jewish identity. I see it as a living, growing, vibrant culture. And if that's the case, then some things will change. I can still be loyal to them without believing everything they believe, without saying everything they said. Look, some of you probably had parents or grandparents who said things about the Schwarzes, about black people, that thinking back on makes you feel somewhat uncomfortable. You don't have to honor them by repeating everything they said, or by living their values, because, you see, then it wouldn't be your life. This is the most important point, whether it's the bar mitzvah attendance or whatever else happens out there. If I live my life by what other people wanted me to do, to believe, to say, to recite, to eat or not eat, it wouldn't be my life. I feel connected to them, but they don't get to tell me what to do. They can offer input, and I say thanks for the input, but in the end I make my own decisions. So my ancestors can be honored in lots of different ways. I remember them for who they are, I draw on their traditions, I have their heirlooms, but I don't have to say what they said, and I don't have to live how they lived to remember them and to love them for who they were. They were real people, not gods. So let's respect them as real people. Let what they said believe, and what they believed have what it meant, and let us do the same for ourselves. There are many things we do that are Jewish. We learn Jewish language. We sing Jewish songs. We celebrate Jewish holidays. We learn about Jewish history. We eat Jewish food. We tell Jewish jokes. We discuss Jewish ideas. We don't have to accept the fact that there's only one way to do Jewish, and it's religious. We do many things that are Jewish. And so when someone asks you, is what you're doing really Jewish? Is this bar mitzvah really a bar mitzvah? You say to them, the bar mitzvah is a coming of age event. It's welcoming people into the adult sense of being part of a Jewish family and community and heritage. So why not find a way for them to do it that's most relevant to them? It can be a Torah reading. It doesn't have to be by the cycle of the week. It can be a piece of Jewish literature they comment on and respond to. It can be an element out of Jewish history or culture or identity that speaks to them. And let them share what they've learned with us so that they can become the teacher. They become the expert in one small corner of Jewish life. That makes it meaningful for them in their path to adulthood, and it becomes a meaningful part of the Jewish identity that they share with us, that they can own and inhabit, and they can be the heir to that part of what it means to be Jewish. So I find that all these questions in the end come back to that personal experience and to being willing to say, what I do has meaning to me. And why we find community is because it has meaning to others as well. And that's why we find a sense of strength in being part of a movement and being part of local communities, and to understand that we are not alone, not in the cosmic sense, but in the humanistic sense.